Ladies and gentlemen of Algebra 2, this is Mr. Heron. We're looking at 4, talking about more factoring. So here's kind of what we're looking at, more factoring. So you need to be able to factor quadratic expressions again. Factoring, it's a big deal. You have to be good at it. And if you're not good at it, you need to practice until you are good at it because it doesn't go away. It shows up in pre-calc, and in pre-calc and calc and beyond, they expect you to be really, really good at it. So get good at it now, and it will pay off. So anytime you're dealing with something like this is a quadratic, but there's an A in front, okay? That means there's a number in front. All right, here's what I want to do. A couple different ways you can do it. Here's what I want to do. I want to take A times C. So my first step, take A times C. Then I'm going to find factors of that number, and then that's going to be how I get B. Okay, A times C, factors that number that get me B. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use to solve that. Then I'm going to split using the factors. Okay, I'm going to rewrite B using the factors. Then finally, I'm going to use grouping to solve. Or if you don't like grouping, there's another trick I can show you that's the same kind of idea. But here's what you got to be careful with, but you got to be careful because there's one little trick that you got to be aware of. So always check. First rule of factoring, can anything be pulled out? So if I look at number 1, 2x squared, 11x, 5, nothing can be pulled out. So I start looking at 2 times 5, and I get 10. So what multiplies to 10 but is going to get me 11? Well, 10 and 1, 2 and 5, 10 and 1 adds up to 11. So what I'm going to do now is rewrite that middle term using 10 and 1. So I split 11 into 10x, 1x. So now parenthesis, 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 parenthesis. So what's in common here? Well, 2x. I'm left with x plus 5. What's in common here? Nothing. So I pull out what's called plus 1, and I'm left with x plus 5. So now take a look. Okay, what's on the inside is the same. So my factored answer becomes 2x plus 1, x plus 5. There's my answer. So now, recap. What did I do? I took first times last, found factors to get 11, rewrite, parenthesis, 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 and then factor out what's in common, factor by grouping. Okay? Then my parentheses match up, so I put together what's on the outside times what's on the inside. So if I look over here, and this time I might do it a little bit differently, but I'll show you kind of the step that I use. 3 times negative 7 is a negative 21. Let's change colors here. Negative 21. What multiplies to negative 21 but gives you negative 4? So I've got 1, negative 21. I've got 3, negative 7. I've got negative 3, 7. I've got negative 1, 21. Well, 3, negative 7 works there. So what I'm going to do is rewrite this as 3x squared. Now I've got to go plus 3x minus 7x minus 7. And I did that because positive 3 minus 7 gives me negative 4. All right, so now if you're not comfortable with parentheses, with grouping, this is another way to do it. So what I do is I draw a little box, and I put one term in each box, and I bring the sign. Now I go across, across, down, down. What's in common here? 3x. What's in common here? Negative 7. What's in common going down? Just x. What's in common going down? Nothing, so I put 1. So my factored answer is going to be 3x minus 7, x plus 1. Either way works. Either way will work. You just got to figure out which way is more comfortable for you. I honestly don't care which way you do it as long as it works for you and get the right answers. So if I look, 4 times 2 is going to be 8. And factors of 8, that give me 9. So factors of 8 are going to be 8, 1, 4 and 2. 8 and 1 is what's going to happen here. So I'm going to take 4x squared plus 8x plus x plus 2. So I'm going to split using 8 and 1. You know, I could put a 1x here if I wanted, but it's just x or just 1x are the same thing. So if I parentheses the first two, parentheses the second two, 4x is in common here, plus 1x plus 2, nothing common, so I pull out a 1. So my answer becomes 4x plus 1, x plus 2. There's my factored answer. So for 4, 2 times negative 12 is going to be negative 24. So what multiplies to get 5 there? Well, start playing around with factors. Anytime the idea of 5 comes up, 8 and 3 kind of works with me there. So I think 8 and a negative 3 is going to work. So now remember, this has got to be a positive 5x, so I want the 8 to be positive. So I want to go 2x squared plus 8x minus 3x minus 12. And again, I'll draw the box to kind of show you what I do. 2x squared, 8x minus 3x minus 12. Then go across, down, to figure out what you're doing. So this is just going to be 2 times x. This is going to be negative 3. Going down, that's going to be x. Going down, that's going to be 4. So my final solution then is going to be 2x minus 3x plus 4. And again, you can always check by multiplying back. FOIL it back and see if you end up with your original answer. In this case, yes, you will. So, taking a look at number 5 here, 9 times 4 is going to be 36, and that needs to add up to 15. So, start playing around. So you get 136, you get 218, you get 3 and 12. Ooh, hey, there we go. 3 and 12 looks like a winner to me. So I want to go 9x squared plus 3x plus 12x plus 4. And again, that's fine. I can do it either way. So if I draw the box, what's in common, what's in common, what's in common, what's in common? So this is going to be 3x. This is going to be 4. Going down, this will be 3x. And this will be 1. Just going by what's in common. That's all I'm doing. So I want 3x plus 4, 3x plus 1. There's my answer. So, taking a look here, hopefully you guys are starting to kind of see the trick. Hopefully you're starting to do, have an idea what to do here. So this is going to be 50. Well, multiplies to negative 27. Make sure you're bringing the sign along. So what's kind of working for me here is I'm thinking negative 2 and negative 25. Negative 25 times negative 2 is going to give me 50. So if I rewrite this, negative 25x minus 2x plus 5. And if I go parentheses here, if I pull out, looks like 5x, that'll leave me 2x minus 5. Here, that doesn't quite match up right now. This is negative 2x, positive 5, negative 5. But if I pull out a negative 1, that changes all the signs. Pulling out a negative 1 or factoring out a negative 1 changes all the signs. Now these match up. Now these are the same. So I'm going to put what's on the outside times what's on the inside. So, starting to get an idea. And again, this takes practice. So 6 times 1 is 6. But what multiplies to 6 but adds up to 5? Well, 3 and 2, 6 and 1. 3 and 2 is my answer. So 6x squared, I'll go plus 2x plus 3x plus 1. And if I go parentheses, 2x, 3x plus 1. Nothing there, and I don't want to change it, so I pull out a positive 1. So 2x plus 1, 3x plus 1. A lot of guys ask, Mr. Henry, what happens if you switch it? Well, if I switch these two, the answer is not much. If I switch these two, then this one would become 3x plus 1, that one would become 2x plus 1, and I'd be done. So here, number 8, sure, why not? Let's see if that works. Yeah, that one doesn't show up very well. Let's not do that one. All right, let's go with this one. 6 times 20 is going to be 120, but gives me negative 23. So here's where I got to think a little bit. And I've got to look at this and go, well, 1 and 120, 2 and 60, 3 and 40, 4 and 30, 5 and, let's see, 2, 24. So I've got to kind of look at what's going to actually subtract to give me 23. So if I look at 6 and 20, are any of these going to subtract? Not really. 1, 8 and 15. Or subtract. Hey, you know what? 8 and 15 will work. Because if I go negative 8 and negative 15, multiplied together, that's going to give me 120. So if I go 6x squared minus 15x minus 8x plus 20. And kind of one way to think about it is this. There's always a pattern looking at the signs. There's always a pattern. If this is positive, both of my answers are going to be negative. Or sorry, both my answers are going to be the same. And this sign tells me what they are. So my final answer should have something, negative, something, something, negative, something. So these two are, if that's positive, both my answers are going to be the same. That sign tells me what it is. If this one's negative, I'm going to have one of each, just period, guaranteed. So let's take a look. So when I solve, here I'd pull out 3x. You'd be left with 2x minus 5. Here I'm going to pull out negative 4, left with 2x minus 5. So take a look at what I got. I've got 3x minus 4, 2x minus 5. There's my answer. There's my answer. So the area of a rectangle is 8x squared plus 10x minus 3. Find the dimensions of the rectangle. So, like I said before, if that's negative, somewhere in my answer, I'm going to have a positive and a negative. I just know I'm going to have that. So if I factor this, 8 times 3 is going to be negative 24, and what multiplies to 10. So be careful, because a lot of kids will put 6 and 4, and that doesn't work. You actually need 12 and negative 2 here. So I'm going to take 12x, 2x, so split those. Then, just for one more box example, 8x squared, 12x, minus 2x, minus 3. Well, what's in common going across? Well, that's going to be 4x. This is going to be a negative 1. Going down is going to be a 2x. Going down here is going to be a 3. So there's my answers. That's going to be 2x plus 3, 4x minus 1. There's my factored answer. So, kind of a little bit more of an example of by grouping. So by grouping, if I look here, 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 here. So the first one, I'm pulling out 5x squared, left with 5x plus 1. Second group, I'm pulling out 6, left with 5x plus 1. Boom, boom, those match up. So 5x squared plus 6 and 5x plus 1. There's my answer. Same thing, same idea over here. Parentheses, 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 parentheses. Here I'm going to pull out 4x squared. It's the most in common with those two. We're left with 7x plus 4. Here I'm actually going to pull out a negative 3 to leave me with 7x plus 4 again. There's my answer. So, same kind of idea, grouping, parenthesis, 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 parenthesis. So I'll pull out 4x, be left with 4y minus x. Pull out 7 here, be left with 4y minus x. 4x plus 7, 4y minus x. Boom, there's my game. There's where we're at. Boom, we're done. Now, this one gets a little messier because there's a lot going on. So if I pull out, let's see, I see a 3x squared in common, left with 4u plus v. Here I see a 7y in common. That leaves me 4u plus v. So 3x squared plus 7y and 4u plus v. There's my answer. Boom. All right, hopefully it's a good review. You have seen this before. Hopefully it kind of starts coming back to you sooner rather than later. Come talk to me with questions because this is not easy. All right, thank you.